Hi, everyone. So I'm Nino from the Live Love Artemis team. I'm the Chief Operating Officer, and I am here today with Melody from the Hunger Coalition. And Melody, do you want to introduce yourself and share a little bit about your organization?
Sure, happy to. So nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I'm Melody Keim. I'm the executive director for the Greater Philadelphia Coalition Against Hunger, and our mission really is to ensure that everybody has the food that they need to live a healthy life. And of course, with that, our big vision is to end hunger, so that we can put ourselves out of business. We don't need to do what we do today.
Right.
But that's our hope.
Thank you for sharing. So, for those of you tuning in, we did a fundraiser this past December to raise money to help feed families and children in need. So, everyone that donated, this is actually where all of your money went to, the Hunger Coalition. They are actually based out of Philadelphia, and we really wanted to choose an organization that was in Philly because that's where we're based out of, and where really our mission is, to be able to serve our clients, but also to be able to give back to our community, to help build our communities. And there's no better way to do that than to provide the essential needs that you need to live to people. So I'm really happy that we came across you guys, and I really love some of the, when we spoke previously, some of the programs that you have available that you focus on in order to kind of solve those issues. Do you want to speak a little bit more about some of the programs that you offer?
Sure, I'd be happy to. And first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for your support. It is needed more than ever. I know it sounds like a tagline, but it is just so true. So at the coalition, we really try to take a holistic approach, uh, because we know that there's not just one way to really address the issue of hunger. So we try to address kind of the immediate needs. So, food for today, kind of the short-term needs, food for tomorrow. And then we also want to think about the future and think about, how do we create long-term solutions to address the issue of food insecurity. So we do that in a number of ways. We work with food pantries and soup kitchens that are in our local area and support them. We don't handle store food, but we know that they need a lot of support. A lot of them are volunteers who lead those organizations and those programs. So we support them. We do training. We have a race against hunger we do in the spring. That's to raise money for us, but also to help support and raise money for their programs.
Right.
So we do a lot of work with them based on what they need. And then we have a SNAP hotline. And SNAP is the food stamp program. And it's one of the best ways to get money into people's pockets so that they can purchase the food that they need. Families may have a child who has allergies, or there may be health issues the family is dealing with. Or there may be foods that they're unfamiliar with, or culturally appropriate foods for them. So it gives them a chance to really have dollars that they can use in the best way possible for them.
Right.
So we navigate that process, help them submit that application, and we also make sure before we get off the phone, that we connect them with food in their neighborhood, so that while they're waiting to receive those SNAP benefits, that they have food in the meantime.
Right.
Uh, and then we do some advocacy and some education and, some work around, particularly during COVID, there have been so many changes, with the COVID relief. And so helping keep ourselves informed, helping let our clients know what's going on, and working with other partners to let them know that as well. So anyway, that's probably enough for now.
No, that's incredible. I think what you guys do is amazing, and you really are thinking about the holistic approach, just like what you said. It's really not just targeting one aspect of the problem, but how do we address this problem every way that we possibly can? Not just working with the families, but then you're also working with the school system, and then you're working with the pantry. So it's really an all-around picture, which I think is incredible. I wanted to ask, would you say is the most rewarding aspect of being part of the organization that you're part of?
Well, I mean, I think there's so many answers to that. But one of them, right now that particularly personally for me, that really moves me is hearing our SNAP hotline team talk about the conversations that they have, um,
Right.
and some of the stories, and how much people really need assistance right now. One of the things we've seen in the last couple of weeks is an increase in the number of large families. So we're having a lot of calls right now from families who have 6 to 9 kids. So that's kind of a shift. Certainly we've always seen some large families, but we're seeing more of those right now. And there's a dynamic right now of as people are sheltering in place,
Mhm.
kids are home who maybe weren't at home before. Maybe they were at college, or they were living on their own. Maybe they lost their job. So
Right.
there's a lot of things that are shifting right now. And, we've seen about a 30% increase in food insecurity in Philadelphia,
Mhm.
which we already had a pretty high number. So, that's really concerning. And we know that a lot of those are families and children who are part of those numbers. So it's our neighbors, it's our family members, it's our friends, it's our community members who are
Right.
experiencing this and really struggling. So.
Wow. I know you also have a very big volunteer aspect of the organization, right? So how did that, was that affected during COVID, or were you guys still able to manage to still do some of those volunteer programs?
Yeah, so we use volunteers a number of different ways. We, as a coalition, use volunteers to help us with our SNAP hotline.
Mhm.
And that has really been challenging because we're working remotely, we're operating the hotline remotely.
Right.
Uh, so we've had to shift kind of how we utilize volunteers, and they were upset because they feel strongly and passionately about helping. So we finally have been able to utilize them a little bit more. So they are very excited about that. But the other way that we work with volunteers is through our work supporting the pantries and the soup kitchens. Many of those, particularly in Philadelphia, are led by volunteers.
Mhm.
And they're based in their church or their mosque or their synagogue, their community center. And these folks who have been doing this work for years, and many of them are in their 70s, 80s, even a few in their 90s. And so our work is to help support them, to figure out, how do you continue to distribute food in a safe way, both for the folks they're serving, but also for them, because many of them fall into a really vulnerable group.
Right.
Uh, and so there's a lot of we do a lot of wellness calls and peer-to-peer calls to help support them in trying to figure out how they can continue to do what they're doing, but safely as well. So
Right.
those are just a few of the ways that we work with volunteers. Volunteers are so important.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how many organizations would even be able to do some of the work that they do without volunteers. And I think that there's also a lot of people out there that really do want to help. And I think it's about trying to find organizations where they know that the work that they're doing actually is making an impact. And I really would love to share, you know, kind of where, if you can, people would be able to sign up, or what does that process look like for anyone listening in that might be interested in helping, if you can give some guidance of like where the first step would be.
Sure. So, one of the immediate things I think of, this is not maybe quite as direct service, but, we do have our Race Against Hunger coming up, and that's in April. It is going to be virtual, but, we always do look for volunteers to help us with that. So if there's anyone who loves that kind of thing, who's a runner, who's a walker, that's one opportunity that's coming up right now.
Awesome.
And then, we also look for folks to help us with some of our committee work coming out of our board.
Mhm.
Um, and I think eventually we'll be at a place where we would love to have some more folks help with our SNAP hotline. We're not quite there yet because we're working remotely, but that will be another opportunity that will be definitely looking for some more help. And then, as things open up, fingers crossed that the
Fingers crossed.
vaccine
Yeah.
is gonna, help
I'm there with you.
get there. Um, we do a lot of community outreach, and we're not able to do that in person right now. But once we're able to do that in person again, we love to have volunteers who can come help with that. We do a hunger simulation, which is it's a lot of fun, but it's also a really great learning experience. So another way.
Yeah, I'll definitely make sure to link those in the video. So, and then your website again is the Hunger Coalition dot I forget com or
.org.
.org, yes. So
Yep.
the hungercoalition.org, and I'll make sure to link that also. So anyone that's listening in that wants to help out can basically go onto that website, and they have everything linked on there. You can donate from there. You can sign up to volunteer from there. You can also see some of the programs that Melody has just described. There's pictures on there. So it's all the information lives on there.
Yeah. And we also have a weekly newsletter. So if you're interested in hearing kind of what's happening, not just with us, but kind of, with the general issue of hunger and food insecurity, feel free to sign up. We'd love to include you on that. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for your time, Melody. I really appreciate it. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Again, I'm Nino. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Live Love Artemis Real Estate at KW Philly. And this is where all the donations went to. We were really happy and excited to support this organization. And we look forward to supporting more.
Thank you so much, Nino and everybody.
Thank you. Bye.